Good morning, everybody. Roger once again, Mudfossil University, today with Greg Morrison's fabulous discovery here of these scales or feathers or whatever they may be. We will just determine this very shortly, or they may be a mix of both. Who is to say at this point? Now, I am going to go through this, but before I go into this, I have a request. Do this, please. Thumb this up unless you have some hatred for what I am going to present, because this is stuff that is not going to be seen unless it becomes, recommended and becomes where people say, oh, this is good. Because I am, and you have to share it too. I am totally shut down, and I'm going to show you, I can prove that. Okay, I know there's over 60,000 subscribers, but they're only people that found it by accident. I've been doing this for many years now, and I am shut down. And I did put in here climbing out of a very deep hole, because I know I am being censored in every respect. Now look at this. Here's one that I put up about giants. Hobo Muck seems exactly as he was described. This is about a giant.
Where was that tall?
Now I'm going to shut this off. But I come up here and I look at the comments, and I see, oh, here's my comments. Oh, this is nice. Everybody's doing it, making comments. Oh, look, there's 184 comments. This is fabulous. And I comment all over the place. But guess what? I see this thing here. You have comments awaiting your review. I never look at this, but I just figured what the hell, I'll look and see what's going on in there. And guess what? Likely spam. I'm in my own channel as likely spam. So nobody's ever going to see anything I ever respond to, and I knew that because nobody has ever responded back. And I think I have some pretty important stuff, so either just not getting it or nobody cares about anything. And for a while I thought nobody cared about anything, but now I have a different opinion about this whole thing. I am just totally shut off. Totally shut off. I know that for a fact in academia and a bunch of different areas, and a lot of YouTube, YouTubes and Facebooks and all kinds of places. They don't want to see this because it changes the way they see their reality. But this is the reality. So the other reality is a myth. So if you don't start speaking up and sharing and making this thing look like it's something that it should be looked at, well, it's just going to sit here with 60,000 same people sitting, ooh, this is nice. And then every now and then another person will find it. So that's the way it works. Now, but I'm asking you to do that. Thumb it up and share it. Say to people, look, you should look at this. Don't back down. I know you're going to be assaulted when you say these things, but they're real, so, the hell with them. Say what's real. You don't say what's real, then you're just one of the sheep in the field, eating grass and saying, ooh, everything's nice. Well, it's not as nice as you think. The grass may not be as good as you think what you're eating. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get down to a little bit of business, what Greg has found here. Now, I hope you understand about the dragon in Morocco, and I will show you parts of that in this video. And this is going to be several different videos because he sent me a bunch of different samples, and I have a few of them here that we're going to go over today, or at least one or two, and explain the genesis of this whole thing. How did this start? Why did I think there was dragons in the first place? And where are they? And the story is they're everywhere. And I'll tell you the reason I thought I came up with looking for the dragon in Morocco. I know it's going to sound like something out of a book or something, but I had the mud fossils I had found in 2012, and I was really kind of in a desperate situation. Nobody was listening. And I had done all the DNA, the CAT scans, the anatomists, and not a single person was paying attention, and I was being assaulted by most everyone. So one day I'm just sitting here thinking, this is crazy. I'm never going to get anybody to listen to this. And all of a sudden the TV's on, and I hear a guy say, look in Morocco. And I said, what? I'm thinking to myself, what is this guy talking to me? It felt like he was talking to me, and it was. I went and looked at Morocco, boop, there's a dragon there. Now, and I'm going to tell you another story. Well, wait a minute. I'm going to show you something, because this is hard to believe. This is what amazed me. I had been looking at this area right here. You see this? The eye of the Sahara is in this area. It's right over here. And all of this drained out from this area. You see, this whole area ran off into the ocean. They don't seem to understand this, the geologists. Now, they also don't seem to understand this is Atlantis. And it is Atlantis. And of that I am 100% certain. And the boats are still in the docks, or something is still here. Wherever they were here, there's still a bunch of different locations right here. And there's something in these slips. Those are channels coming in, and these are little dock entries. And then that is one of the rings, and then there's another ring, another ring, another ring, and then there is another area out here that was the protectorate of Atlantis right here. And that is their entrance to this one. The water washed this way. All right. Now, and trust me, I've investigated this, and this depth is, and then there's the straits right up here. Look at this. That's not some accidental thing that happened. All right, you think that's accidental? No. Now, this whole area drained out of here, and Plato said it was, and Herodotus puts it right exactly there on his map, 450 BC. And Plato said so much mud ran out at this point, they will never speak of mud again. Now, I'm looking at this thing for years. I'm reporting on, oh, this is Atlantis, this is Atlantis. Well, guess what? When that guy said, looking in Morocco, I said, well, I looked over here, where's Morocco? It's right next to it. Look at this. There's a gigantic fish. Look, there's just the eye of the Sahara. There's a gigantic fish right here. And that gigantic fish is being attacked by this gigantic dragon right here. And that's his head, and this is his neck, and it runs all down. He's dead and decaying. That is all decomposition from a dead, decaying body. And that dead, decaying body is totally coated with dragon scales. You see those? Those are all dragon scales running down his throat. All the way up to the front, up to his head. And all this fluty stuff you see on the side of dragons, it said they had a red, flashy eye. Look at that. You see that? That looks like a red, flashy eye to me. And all this fluty stuff is the stuff you see on dragons. And here's that bulbous looking nose that they have, and the whiskers and everything. And this is the stuff that they spit out to kill things. And it affected this fish. I don't know if it killed it, but it certainly ate into its vital flesh. And this is how that happened. He spit this stuff down. It all rained down here. And if you look from the mouth, inside right here is the injectors. Here's the red and here's the green. They mix together and they flow out and out and out until they come all the way down and combust. And where do they start to combust? Right here. You see that? Yeah. Now, you see this here. This is the venom. And it is some kind of a toxic venom. Now, the most venomous snakes have something that is virtually identical to this. I mean, look at that stuff. That is as nasty as it gets. I mean, it's kind of exotic looking, really. I mean, look at that. Look at this. Look at that. Anyway, whatever it is, it came down here and had a chemical reaction. I don't think it's flames, but it had a chemical reaction on this fish's gigantic fin. All of this within a couple of feet of Atlantis. I've been studying it for years. Never noticed it until the guy said, look in Morocco. And this dragon goes all the way from here where his head is, I just showed you. And I've done an autopsy on this over the internet here, and it goes all the way down, 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 out almost to the Mediterranean. You can easily see the scales of its tail right here, and that dead, decaying runoff of this tail. And you can see, of course, I call it fluty stuff. But when you see this flashy looking, fluty looking stuff like that, that's not just accidental. That's from this dragon's tail. You see the tail comes out here, and then you see right at the end of the tail this fluty stuff. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Fluty, flashy looking things. And it's all up the side of the dragon if you go on the other end. So, at any rate, there's a dragon, there's a fish, there's Atlantis, all recorded in history. Herodotus puts it exactly there on his map. How they're looking at Santorini and Crete, and I mean, it's just unbelievable. They can't accept what is right in your eyes. If you can't see that, it measures exactly what Plato and Solon and all of those people recorded as Atlantis. So that's just another part of the story. Alright, so we know the Moroccan dragon is in Morocco, where Morocco happens to be. Now, here we come down here to the American dragon, and that's the American dragon's head right there. I've shown this. You can go back, oh, you guy's crazy. Well, good for you. I am not crazy. This is the, you see this little squiggly stuff all across his nose, all around the nose. You see that? Something to do with, because this is a feathered serpent. This is the one, and it is feathers. There's feathers in here, and I'm going to show them to you. We're going to flip out when you see them. But all this stuff goes all around its head, and I think it's something to service the feathers. And this is a plume running right up his head. You know how they showed they had these huge looking plumes? Look at that. That's the fluty stuff right up there. See that? That's not accidental. That's a feather. And that feather is coming right off of that dragon's head right here. And that dragon wraps up around here, and he goes all the way up the East Coast, all the way up to Canada. And there's the rest of the fluty stuff right up there. This is the feathered dragon, the feathered serpent, the one that Amaruka was named for. Now, Greg was down in Tennessee somewhere, Townsend, Tennessee. I'm going to show you where he went using Google Earth. He found a spot that he decided, well, I'm going to go over here and see what it looks like. And that's what he did. Alright, so Greg matched up the Moroccan dragon to the American dragon. You know, similar patterns. Did what he could figure out. And then he actually went to these locations. Now, this is a housing development up in here. That's the roads and houses and all this. This is not little tiny puppy scales. So when he got there, I will show you what he found. Okay, initially he sent me this picture and said, wow, look at this. And then he said, I got some samples of this. They are magical. And I said, that's interesting. I wonder what that means. And then he said that they're iridescent looking when they get wet. So, you know, that's also interesting. But the rocks do that. So he continued on, and he spent some time down there, and he sent me a couple of USB sticks. So I need some time to go through all this stuff, but I just want to show you preliminary right now that this is a dragon, and these are dragon coverings, let's call it that way, and then we will decide on what these coverings consist of. Okay, this apparently was the first location that Greg started collecting at, and I believe he's collected, believe it or not, I think he's got scales, I think he's got skin, and I know he's got feathers. So let's look at him. Okay, this is one of the areas he was at, and he collected this sample from that area, and that is feathers. It's definitely feathers. Now, there was we were wondering for sure whether it was feathers or was it possibly pinnate muscle. multipennate, which is a bunch of little fibers, and they call it feathers. They call it multipennate feather muscles. They're identical to feathers, only they're muscles. Now, I'm pretty sure I've determined that what we're looking at is feathers. Now, we're going to be looking at it in the microscope and so forth, and I can show you the layers of it. And I'll probably be cracking it open to look, because I believe there's two layers of feather there. Now, he also has a scale that I believe it looks like it's a dragon scale to me. And we're going to go over that one today in detail. Now, the other thing I believe he has found is literally dragon skin. I believe it's the skin from a dragon, or whatever it is, the creature that he got it off of. I don't know what the creature was, but he was down in Dragonland, so I'm going with dragon at this point. And it is like, as you know, skin is like a bazillion layers thick. They don't realize this. They think it's only this layer and that layer and the next layer, and that's it, case closed. No, there is a bazillion layers of skin on every creature. There's so many layers you just never ever could imagine it. But they are so micro thin that you can't imagine that either. And we're going to be looking at those and this is the layers. You see all those layers in there? And I believe this is the actual skin. We're going to be looking at it in the microscope and doing what we can to come up with a determination of what we think these things are. Yeah, I could be wrong, could be 100% wrong, could be just scraps of this and that. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I'm going to show you where the blood runs, and the anatomy, and the biology. And if you can come up with some other explanation for what I show you that's better than the explanation that I present, I'd like to see it. Okay, my friends, let's look at this, what I think is a dragon scale. Now, you can see the pyramid shape right there, and then you see this little bump here. You see, well, what is that? Well, that, I believe, is the latch that holds the next scale over the top of this one. And I believe they sit in this. You see how you have this curve here? You have this. This is on the bottom of the scale. And I believe it fits right in a trough. And then another one fits right in the trough against it. And they just layer themselves out, just the way they do on the tiles. One right over the other. And this is literally the hook that holds it. Now, there is some other latching spots in here. And I say latching because that is not unnatural. That is the way it came. It didn't crack and break apart like that. Now, I can also show you that this was a living creature. And I will show you in a microscope where the blood came in. Alright, so this is not something that's just a rock that fractured off of something. This is a component of a creature, and that little thing is the latch that held that thing in position so that it could float around. It's flat as a pancake here, and you can see, I'll show it in the microscope, there's some kind of biology here where it was laying on the scale underneath, but it was able to slide around. And all of those layers and so forth that are in there, I hope you can see those. Let me get a little light over there. If you can see those layers, that is not sedimentary anything. That all of these layering are from growth. That's growth. Things don't layer like this unless they're crystals. Crystals will create these things. But this is a growth pattern. That's a growth pattern. And I've looked at it very carefully, and I'm pretty careful about when I make a statement. And I say that is a growth pattern. Alright, I told you I could show you some biology. There it is right there. Now, this I'm stepped off quite a ways from this. Put a little moisture on there, but you can see the patterns in it, and then you can see the red and the black blood. Now, let's take a real close-up look. Alright, that's some bloody, some dragon blood coming out, and this over here is a dragon blood vessel. See that? Oh. Alright, that's where blood issues from. Now, let's look at that spot I said had some biology in it, in this spot right here. That laid up on the other scale below. You see that? There's some kind of a fascia mat there that separated it from the scale below. See, there's a scale above. As the fascia mat was like a slippery little spot right in one area. Oops, there's still water there. Hold on, let me squish it around a little bit. Alright, so here's the real fascia gluey area. You see that right there? Then you come off away from that down towards the scale itself, and you lose that gluiness. But you have all this toughness of the scale. It's right out to the edge of the scale. Now, the top, on the pyramid angles, you have this. You see, let me step it way off. Hold on. Stay with me. I'll show you how this works. Alright, I'm going to bring, see those little lines? I'm going to bring it way up here. And I'm going to focus it in from a zillion miles in outer space. You see this? That's what's on that dragon scale. Alright, you see those little lines all over there? That's the edge right there. See that? There's some blood right there. Alright, there's another edge over here. And the point is right over here. Right there. Oops. My thumb is on the point. Right there is the point. Let's see if I can set it up so that we can... You got to stop moving things to be able to see them well. Right there, right dead center, is the point. Now I'm going to come down. Right now, what I'm going to do is bring the camera down. So this is the tip of the top of the point. I'm going to come this way. You see, that's biological. And I'm going to move it down. I have to refocus as we get lower. I'm moving down. Now let me refocus it. You see that? And now I'm going to go right down on top of it so that you can see that top, that tip. And there it is. I'm on top of the tip right now, looking straight down from the top. Now I don't even know if I can back the scope out that far. Yes, I can. Alright, so now I'm right on the very tip of the top. That's biological. Now I'm going to start backing down. Whoops. You see, you go down, you can see this all biology all over. The very tip has got some serious biology to it. Then when you get down here, you're going to see all these little black dots. You see these little black dots? They're on all of this dragon stuff. Now those black dots are some kind, I think it might be like carborundum or something. Or some kind of very extremely strong crystal stuff. And it's all over. See all these little dots? There's areas where it's thicker and there's areas where it's thinner. See? Now this is the underneath part. Now you see the difference between this and the top? This has that white, powdery looking, fascia looking stuff on it. If I can get it homed in here. Alright, that's pretty good. You see it? Now that's the whole thing running down. You see the stripes? I'm going to run straight down the stripe. See the stripes, 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 stripes coming down. Now I'm coming all the way down to the tip. This is the underside of the scale. And there I just run around the tip. And I'm coming back up the top of the scale. Now you see the dots. You see? On the top it's got the serious dots. Look at that. That's where you got some kind of serious action going on. I'm not sure exactly what they are specifically, but they're little black, they're either blood dots or they're some kind of little crystals. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. Let me take a picture of that. Now here's where you got to get a little creative. You have I can adjust the colors. I mean the light. You see that? I'm down nowhere about as low as I'm going to be able to get. It just shut off. Right there. Now, so I'm going to take a picture at that light. Alright, now I am going to take a picture. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to use an outside light source to come into this. And I'm going to shut off my other light source. Alright, now, sometimes if you come in with a secondary light source, you can get, you can get some details you can't get from straight above. Sometimes you can get some, like shadows and that kind of stuff. But I'm not doing too good of a job then. All right, well let's just look at what we got close up. Well, I think we have enough to show. Well, let's look at this spot right here. Alright, this is the bump that sticks up from the pyramid. That bump is the hook. That's what holds these things in. The other ones sit right on top and they latch and keep the thing from moving. So let's see what that that latch is made out of. We looked at the pyramid. Now we're going to go for the latch. So you have to bear with me, my friend. Alright, let's see if we can come down on that. Now this is the latch. Now, let me get some light on there. Alright, this is the latch. And this is right down here is the hook part of the latch, the lowest part. And then you start into the triangle coming lower here. Now let's go back up the latch, going this direction up is to the top of the latch. And there it is right there. And it's got some kind of structure to it here. I need to home in on it. You can see the center there. This is mineralization. When you see white like that, it indicates there's some kind of strong mineralization going on there. All right, that you always see white flakes where there's strength is required. And then you see these two bumps here. Now, that is the latch area. I'm twisting it up and down. That's where it would latch. And there's the end of it right there. And that end is not broken off anything. That's just the way that end ended. You see that? This was the latch. You can see the structure of it when you shadow it like that. That's the latch. I'm telling you, this is a dragon scale. I don't know how you could see anything else. I'm seeing a dragon scale. You see that? That's right in front of the latch. Those two little triangle looking spots there. I believe the one on the left is the vein blood, artery blood, and the one on the right is the vein blood. It appears that way to me. I see if I can stabilize this, get a little closer and look at it. I could be wrong. I do see some biology there. Let me put it right up on there and see if I can get any better with that. Alright, shut down the light. Back it way down here. And when you get up real close, it's hard to find the spots you were looking at. But I think I've shown enough to make it pretty obvious what's going on here. This is that latch area. And it's just a structurally strong, sound area that holds this thing and keeps the latch right here. Holds this so that this thing can float around. Those, you know, it's absolutely fabulous. If I had a batch of these, I bet I could stack them into exactly the formation that this would lay up on the creature's body. You can see that angle would fit into this angle. The latch would fit into the next latch and the next latch, and angles to angles. That glue is going to glue it in to this side. That's what I'm seeing. So that's it for that particular one. Hold on, let's clean this up a second. Okay, next time we are going to go over some more of the dragon bits and pieces and the feather, and I will split that feather because it's two, and I think they might have been turkeys. Now, this is a dragon meat, it appears, and there was blood coming out of there, Greg said. So we're going to be looking at all this. There's some more dragon scales. You see that angular looking piece there, like we saw on the other one? And that piece there was a hook, and that really broke. That's what they latch in and hold. So we're going to look at all this stuff in the microscope and some of these fabulous things that he came back with. But that's another dragon scale. You see the angles to them? You see these angles? See that angle? It's not accidental. The same, but they're in different conditions. And the same thing with this one, obviously. I just showed this one here. These are angles of dragons. So we're going to go over the feather and compare things and look at this and that, and I will see you next time, my friend. God bless you, and stay safe. Okay, now we're going to work on a latch. You see this? That's this right here. That's right in this hook that holds the latch. Now, let's look at how the actual latch right up in here is constructed, because it is constructed by nature. Okay, what we are looking at right now, this is exactly that spot right here. We're going to be going this direction up to this, and there is literally anatomy there that we should be quite easily to recognize. Now, I'm going to let it go and see if I can stop at the right spot. So we're going to go up from there to the end of the latch. Now look at how biological that is. You see that? That's biology. Now, I'm going to see if I can stop it just at the right place. I'm getting up towards the end of the latch. Let's get it focused in. Oop. Let's get it right in the right spot. What? Alright, I'm back. That was my wife. She just got our dog's DNA test back. He's a Boston Terrier, Beagle, and some other things. Boston Terrier is a great dog, and this dog is fabulous. They call the Boston Terrier the gentleman dog or something like that. And he is a nice dog. Anyway, this is the Latch. You see that little dot? You see that little dot over here? Those aren't there by accident. Those are there because that is anatomy. Whoops. And what did I do? Let's see if we can get it back. Hold on. All right. This is the tip of that latch. So here we are, right out here. We are right in this little divot here. There's a divot there. That is a structural component. That is, I believe, the artery or the vein, and that's the other one. All right. I believe this is the vein, the black one, and this is the artery. They turn white where the dot is. You can actually see the bump, which is the vein valve. And I have another fingertip here that has the same thing, and you can actually see the bump. You see that bump? This one's cleared out already. That one's still got the black blood in it. And I have a fingertip. Hold on. Right here. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this easily, but I think you might. Oops. All right, now this is a fingertip. And you see the fingertip here? That's the red blood that blew out of that artery side. This is the artery. That side is the vein because they don't blow out. And there's a spot here, a spot here, and a spot here. This one blew right out at the end. And they have it here and here. And they feed together from this end. And one of them, let me get a pointer. All right, one of them, boy, my eyes are terrible. Hold on. All of a sudden I can't focus. It's right over here somewhere. You probably can see better than me. The brown spot is over here and the clear one is over here. Alright, it's there, trust me. But anyway, the point is that there is a vein and an artery here on this latch. This is as biological as it gets. And there is, I looked at this very carefully. This end is not broken off of anything. That is the way this was constructed. There's nothing broken off here. This might have cracked off a little piece here, but that's it. A little tiny, little cracky here, but this is natural. That's natural. This was something hooked on top of this and was held in just like that. And it could jiggle around, and that glue, and this glue held it sort of movable. All right, and you can see there's biology in all of this down here. So I'm going with 100% biological, and I say that is a dragon scale. And I commend Greg for finding these things. Absolutely fabulous. And if nobody went and looked, we'd be, everybody just laughing about, oh, the guy's a nutcase. You know, that's because people don't look. So thank you, Greg. By the way, you were looking at this. Look at this. I mean, I got so much biological stuff going on. You just can't even imagine how much biology is in the things that everybody has just laughed at. You know, so that's grip skin from, I mean, look at this. There's gold and blood and everything that you could think of is in there. And I have them coming out of my ears. That's a lung. That is a lung. They'll say, oh no, that's shock quartz. No, it's not shock quartz. It is a lung. And that is another part of the lung. And everywhere you see the crystals, those were where the little holes in the lung were where the air goes. I think they call them alveoli. And they fill up with air. Once you die, they fill up with quartz crystals or whatever happens to be in the neighborhood. So this is Mudfossil University. We're showing the facts and the truth of what is there, and it has to be seen. This stuff, look at that. What do they think that happened from? That's the inside of a bone. That is turns to oil. That's source rock is oil. Here, this is how the diamonds are formed inside of the vugs, inside of holes in. That's what they form from the transition metals. I mean, I got so much stuff. It's embarrassing. These are garnets. They're in everything. And look at this. I can show you some. I went walking my dog, my new dog, Nero, and I see this. And so I pick it up. And I haven't even looked at it yet, but let's take a look at it real quick. It's just laying on the ground. It's pretty interesting. You know, and there's blood in this too. I saw, see, there's the red blood in it. Yeah, so blood crystallizes. It turns into garnets and gemstones of all different types. Some of them are pink and red, and they're every different color. And it just depends on what it was. You see this little fingertip that I showed you? There's a garnet in that too. See that garnet right there? Whoops. That's the blood that gushed out the end of the fingertip. And it's a garnet. Well, the garnet's all over here, but there it is right there. Try to home it in. You see, that's the stuff that leaks out. And all the way down the front of this, see down here? The blood is the preservative. Then you get down to the grip skin. So you remember I showed you before that grip skin? That's what you're going to find in fingertips and toes. These little angular flappy straps. This is probably a better shot. You know, these little microscopes are not that expensive. You know, I mean, they're not dirt cheap, but they're not hundreds of dollars. But you can see a lot of really interesting stuff. That's something. It's a fingertip. It depends on where they are and what conditions they get caught under when they're petrifying. So that's it for today. Mudfossil University. See you later.